I disavow these requirements. I regret those comments that he made. I don't think claiming a person can't do their job because of their race is sort of like the textbook definition of a racist comment. I think that should be absolutely disavowed. It's absolutely unacceptable. So I'm not going to defend these kinds of comments because they're indefensible. I'm going to defend our ideas. I'm going to defend our majority.
All right. I know one man who has a lot to say about Mr. Ryan, and that man would be David Horowitz, founder of the David Horowitz Freedom Center, editor of FrontPage Magazine, and author of Progressive Racism. There it is on your TV screen. Hello, David.
Hi, Steve.
What do you got to say about Mr. Ryan?
Well, what's wrong with Paul Ryan? Somebody needs to take him to the woodshed and explain that there's an election on, and this election is more like a war than an election. Well, Hillary Clinton lies. She commits crimes. She betrays our national security. And Democrat after Democrat goes out and defends her and spins the lies and explains why she misspoke on this or that. Trump did this ineptly, and he should have corrected it. But why is the Republican PAC attacking him instead of the Democrats? This judge is obviously biased. First of all, the fact that he's a Mexican is important, and it has nothing to do with racism. When you have an election where Donald Trump's signature position is, we're going to build a wall, that Mexico is sending a lot of criminals to this country, which they are, about 550,000 of them. Of course this guy should recuse himself, and he belongs to these left-wing, open borders, anti-Trump organizations anyway. But you have this Republican PAC piling on Trump and doing the dirty work of the Democrats for them, led by the Speaker of the House. I think Paul Ryan should have his head examined for that statement that he made. He should be defending Trump, as should all Republicans.
Yeah.
He's our candidate. He's the only hope we have of stopping the Hillary-Obama left-wing assault on this country.
You know what?
A number of your callers, expressed that perfectly well. They understood very well that Trump put that ineptly, that he should have stressed this guy's political positions.
Right.
But
David, why are the Republicans either unwilling or incapable of? Look, I pulled out Sonia Sotomayor's statement on inherently female Latina.
She's a leftist.
Yeah, but why didn't Paul Ryan get up there and say that? Why didn't Paul Ryan get up there and quote Harry Reid as saying that maybe Rubio's not a real Hispanic, or some prominent Democrat who said that maybe Clarence Thomas isn't a real African American?
Yeah,
why don't they do that? Why don't they do that?
And you could say the same about Corker and McConnell. The only Republican who stood up for him, I haven't watched
Christie.
It's Chris Christie. What is wrong with Republicans? This is why we lose all these battles. They're just trying to get the Democrats to praise them. It's mind-boggling. Look, as you know, I was brought up in the left.
Yep.
I brought up the fight. And I have been bewildered for 20 or 30 years that Republicans are such and don't fight, and are always looking for approval from people who hate them.
Yeah, no, they just do a terrible, terrible job of fighting back. And I'll tell you what, Donald Trump has to listen to people around him, because I know he has people around him who are telling him or would tell him exactly how to handle this, exactly how to make the point that I've been making, that you've been making, but he doesn't listen, apparently.
Well, you have here, Steve, look, his strength is that people think he's going to stand up and fight and not back down.
Agreed.
And there are times when you should make corrections, and he has a statement today that makes the correction. But I think that in his mind it is very much that he has this tremendous following from the conservative and Republican base, and it's because people see him as their fighter, and they haven't had one for a very long time. Even Gingrich fell off the boat on this one.
You know what the best thing was, and I'm going to play this bite later on in my Gimme Five. The best one was they're on Morning Joe on MSNBC, and Scarborough's ranting and raving about how Trump's a racist because he won't let Muslims in the country, and they go to Al Sharpton. Isn't that racist, Al? Yes, it is.
Yeah, the biggest racist in the country.
Unbelievable. All right, let's get to some phone calls with David Horowitz, and don't forget the new book, Progressive Racism.
Yeah, the Democratic Party is the racist party. It's the party of racial categories for everything, so that we have these absurd discussions of who's a racist. A racist is somebody who denigrates and puts down and discriminates against people just on the basis of their color.
Right.
That's a racist.
Absolutely. All right, 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629. We go to San Francisco and say hello to Tom. Hi, Tom.
Hi, nice to see your face on TV. And let me say that I really appreciate David Horowitz's transformation from left to right. But has anybody ever been to New York City? Would realize really quickly that New Yorkers speak in a different language than they do in Tennessee or anywhere else. They have a way to speak. You have to read between the lines. And Trump, I don't want to give him any excuses for anything, because I love the guy because he's a genuine individual. The problem is that, quite frankly, people don't see what is beneath those statements, i.e., the thing is that how can this man who supported the Hillary and Billary activity for so many years and was appointed by Obama feel that he can adjudicate this situation? And that's a question for David, of course, because I gather...
All right, let David answer, Tom. Go ahead.
Yeah, the answer, Tom, is that the Democrats see politics as war. That's the way they see it. 70% of Democrats have said they will vote for Hillary, even if she is indicted for treason. They didn't say for the treason, but that's what she would be indicted for violating the espionage laws, endangering and probably getting killed agents in the field. I mean, she's made our secrets an open book to the enemy, yet 70% of Democrats, even if she's guilty of that, will vote for her. And that's because for them, this is a much larger war. It's the transformation of America, what Barack Obama called. We're going to fundamentally transform the country, which means wreck it.
Absolutely. You've always been on target with that, David. 100%. Tom, I thank you, sir. Let's go to Seal Beach, California, and say hello to Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hey, good afternoon.
Or good evening, depending on where you are. Did you vote today, Bill?
Absolutely.
And you voted for Donald Trump?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, here's the story. We like Donald. We like his. I like his style. I like his fire in the belly. And sometimes he does call it like he sees it. But as far as the comment about a Mexican, he should have referred to as a Latino or something like that. That's in the way he said it. His delivery was a little harsh. I can understand it. But you have to kind of, if you want your point to get across, he should have mentioned one time Latino and the fact that he was not going, in his opinion, to get a fair hearing from the judge. As far as the wall goes, that's a fact of life. That's going to get done.
Right.
But
Bill, let David go. Go ahead, David.
You know, what Republicans should be, I agree with the caller, what Republicans should be, and by the way, I've been depressed all day watching other channels. I think I'm going to watch Newsmax a lot more. It'd be very good for my spirits. What Republicans should be doing is demanding the resignation of the sheriff in San Jose who allowed these violent fascist mobs that support Hillary and Bernie and burn American flags and attacked Trump supporters. He called him off because he's on the side of the fascists.
But David, everybody from Andrea Mitchell to Brooks at the New York Times kind of blame Trump. They're nuts.
Of course. Look, this is the theme of the campaign from now on. Blame Trump.
Yeah.
Trump is the target.
Yeah.
And we have to have our troops rally around the candidate.
Absolutely.
And the base is doing that.
Listen.
These wonderful callers you have are doing that, but the Republican Party is out to lunch.
Out of touch and out to lunch. All right, thank you for the call, sir. Really appreciate it. Folks, we have a lot more ahead with David Horowitz. Your calls in the next segment, and then Gimme 5, which I think you're going to find very interesting. It's about Mr. Phony Baloney, Joe Scarborough, feigning all of a sudden he despises racist Donald Trump. Hypocrisy and phoniness. We'll talk about it. More of your calls coming up. Don't go away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Final segment of today's show. David Horowitz, founder of the David Horowitz Freedom Center, editor of FrontPage Magazine, and very important book, Progressive Racism. David is with us, still taking some phone calls until the Gimme 5. And let's go back to the phones at 877 Newsmax. Tina from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello, Tina.
Yes, Steve. This is Tina. Yes. Donald Trump, my friend Steve, is the best thing for the Republican Party, okay? Listen, everything Donald Trump is saying is the truth. Let me tell you something. Steve, you need to come out here to Las Vegas and just go in the banks. Every position is held by some Mexican or Latino, and no one out here can get money unless you're one of them. And every job they make, they give nobody a job, Steve. They only hire their own. This country needs to come back to being what it's supposed to be.
Tina, did you say you say the banks? That was is that what you said? Every job in the banks?
In the bank, Steve, you can come and see for yourself.
But those are legal. Those are. If that's true, those are legal citizens working in banks. I don't know what your beef is with that. But listen, I support Donald Trump. David, you know what I'm saying about Trump. He just handled this poorly, and I'm afraid that with the media pylon, I'm afraid when the next poll comes out, he's going to be down 8 to 10 points.
Yeah, well, it hasn't happened all week, so we'll see. Look, we're not going to win this battle unless we have the troops. One man can't do it. And Trump has this great groundswell of support, but he's really abandoned by the Republican Party. The Democrats, my book, Progressive Racism, is about how the Democrats are the racist party. Of course they are. Of course they're the ones who are behind all the racial categories and the racial preferences for hiring and for getting into universities. The Democrats control every inner city of any size in America, every killing field, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., 100% controlled by the Democratic Party and has been for 50 to 100 years. Everything that's wrong with the inner cities in America, every racist fact, Democrats, that policy can affect, Democrats are responsible for, yet Republicans are tongue-tied. Why can't they point this out? Just today, everybody's celebrating the first woman nominated to be president, but she's a criminal. Well, what does that do for women?
Yeah, well, David, you asked the question. You asked the question, why won't they point this out? And that's the enigma here. Hey, listen, Tina, thank you very much for the call. David, thank you very much. Progressive Racism is the book. We'll speak to you again, sir. Thanks for sticking around and taking the phone calls.